Hi, this is Callan Bentley. Welcome back for another Smart Figure. After watching this video, you should be able to describe the four major pieces that make up continents. You'll recall from your textbook and also from other Smart Figure videos that there's two basic kinds of crust on Earth. That's the continental crust and the oceanic crust. The continental crust is overall thicker and more buoyant, while the oceanic crust is thinner and denser. And wherever crust occurs, it overlies the mantle. But is the continental crust the same everywhere throughout its entire mass? If we look at this figure in the textbook, we'll discover that the answer to that is no. The continental crust varies from place to place. So we've got a map here of all the continents of Earth. The map has been color-coded to show the four different major portions of the continents. The oldest of these are colored pink on the map. They're called the shields. And you can see that in North America, we have the Canadian shield. The Greenland shield is actually a broken off piece of the Canadian shield. In South America, there's two shields, the Orinoco shield and the Brazilian shield. Africa's got a shield. Europe has a shield. Northern Asia has a shield. India has a shield. Australia has a shield. These are basically the old, really stable portions of the continent. This photograph up here in the upper left illustrates what they look like in general. They're generally crystalline rocks, metamorphic rocks, or igneous rocks that were active and forming a long time ago, billions of years ago, but have been inactive ever since. And erosion has weathered them down, so they're mostly flat. Some places have the shield overlain by a layer of sedimentary rocks, and these are referred to as the stable platforms. So in North America, every place you see gray rock here, that's basically where this continental crust has been overlain by sedimentary layers, just like a blanket would obscure the mattress underneath it. The same thing is true in South America, in Africa and Arabia, and throughout most of Eurasia. Old mountain belts are colored purple on this map, and they represent the next major piece of the continents. In North America, the Appalachians are a great example of an old mountain belt, although there are also other ones that are less accessible up on the northern coast of Canada and Greenland. Scandinavia has an old mountain belt. The Urals are a mountain belt that runs through Eurasia, basically dividing Europe from Asia. They collided a long time ago and they've stayed stuck ever since. Even Australia has an old mountain belt along its east coast. These mountain belts were active more than 100 million years ago, and since then erosion has worn them down to a rather subdued topography. The photo up top here shows an example from the Appalachians. These mountains are not nearly as gnarly as they once were. The last category of major pieces of the continents are the young mountain belts, those that are less than 100 million years old. And you can see in the Americas, there's basically one continuous belt of young mountain belt running all along the west coast of both South America and North America. In South America, we call it the Andes. In North America, it's called the Cordillera. There's also a big mountain belt running along southern Europe and through southern Asia, even up along the east coast of Asia. And this is caused by various continents like Africa and India moving north and colliding with the southern margin of Eurasia. A nice example of this is the modern-day Himalayas, which are being formed as India is smashing into Eurasia and shoving that rock high up into the air. So, to review, we've got shields that are covered with sedimentary rock. These are called stable platforms. Old mountain belts that have been reduced by erosion, and young mountain belts that haven't yet been reduced by erosion. Take a look at the North American continent. Consider where you live. Which of these four different portions of the North American continent best characterizes the area where you reside? It could be a young mountain belt, like over here in the west. It could be an old mountain belt, like over in the east. It could be the Canadian shield, or it could be the stable platform in the heartland of America. The only exception to those four categories in the United States would be Hawaii, which isn't part of the continental crust at all, but is instead a volcanic island chain that we'll talk about in another Smart Figure video. Thank you very much for your attention. This has been another Smart Figure.